In the poorest year of my life, I took $50,000 and pretended to be my sister to take care of her blind fiancé on the day he regained his sight. I left without a word. The next time we met was at a press conference. I was a nameless intern reporter. He had returned to his rightful place as the CEO of the influential Walton Corporation. During the interview, someone asked, "We've heard that during your illness, your fiancé had been taking care of you with great attention. Is it true that the two of you are getting married soon?" The corner of his lips lifted slightly as he raised his hand, revealing a ring. "Yes, we're about to get engaged." Yet his gaze, through the thin lenses of his glasses, deliberately or not, lingered on me in the corner. Chapter 1. Before the interview began, whispers filled the room. The person being interviewed today, Edward Walton, is the one ruling the entire Walton Group now. I heard that he went blind 5 years ago and was forced to leave the family. Without his fiancée's care, he might not even survived. Keep it down. I sat beside them, forcing a smile while my nails dug deep into my palms. Then, my senior, Lawrence, turned to me. "Clara, get me a glass of water, please." I hurried toward the water dispenser by the door. When it flung open, a familiar figure stepped in, and my mind went blank. 3 years had passed. Edward had changed beyond recognition. His once slender frame had filled out, and his features became sharper. Those once clouded eyes were now cold and clear. "Excuse me," he said softly. His gaze swept over me through his glasses as if I were a stranger. Not a flicker of recognition, surrounded by bodyguards. He walked onto the stage. As he passed by, a faint scent of sandalwood lingered in the air. I stood frozen, only snapping back to reality seconds later. Those 2 years I'd spent with him were the lowest point of his life. During those times when he was forced to leave the family and blinded by the accident, he had never seen my face. Of course, he wouldn't recognize me. Perhaps that was for the best. By the time I returned, the interview had already started. Edward sat on stage. His gaze swept over the hall as he was answering the questions. Then, a side door opened. Evelyn Carter stepped in, apologizing with a smile. "I'm sorry, Edward. My flight delayed, I'm late." Dressed in an elegant gown, she took a seat beside him. The room fell silent for a moment before erupting in murmurs. Lawrence turned to me with sparkling eyes and said, "Clara, you kind of look like Evelyn Carter." I forced a smile and said, "She's a celebrity. You must be flattering me." Of course, we looked alike. We were sisters. Chapter 2. During the interview, someone asked, "We've heard that during your illness, your fiancé had been taking care of you with great attention. Is it true that the two of you are getting married soon?" My throat tightened as I watched him on the stage. A faint smile touched his lips as he raised his left hand, revealing a plain silver ring. That was the ring that I bought for him years ago with my part-time earnings to cheer him up. This plain ring looked out of place on the hand of the CEO of Walton Corporation. Yet his finger gently traced over the ring, as if he was absolutely obsessed with it. "Yes, we're about to get engaged." His gaze swept across the room, lingering, intentionally or not, on me in the corner. Just for a few seconds before turning away, the microphone was passed to Evelyn. "Evelyn, we heard that you recently landed a role in Director Liu's film. He rarely casts newcomers. Did Mr. Walton's influence play a part?" She smiled. "Of course. I'm confident in my skills, but I won't deny Edward helped a lot, and I deserve every bit of his favor." Her confidence won applause. Someone asked, Could you share how you and Mr. Walton supported each other during those difficult times? Evelyn's smile faltered, followed by an awkward silence. After an unbearable pause, Edward took over the mic. There's nothing to share. Those memories are just for us. My eyes stung. I clenched my pen and lowered my head. Memories flooded. Back then, before Edward was blinded, he had been reckless, making plenty of enemies. After his fall from grace, troubles came knocking more than once. I remember the night vividly. I just returned from visiting my mom's grave when he was fighting with his enemies. I stepped in, intended to protect him. I ended up being pushed down the stairs, blood soaking through my clothes and bruises all over my toes. Terrified, the bullies fled. I gritted my teeth, pretending to be okay when I walked back to his side. Let's go home, I told him, but he gripped my hand. You're hurt. I need to get you to the hospital. I'm fine. I can smell blood. His voice cracked as tears streaked down his eyes, like stars veiled in dust. His arms wrapped tightly around me. But the name he whispered wasn't mine. Evelyn, when I recover, I'll give you the grandest wedding in the world. Chapter 3. After the interview. Dark clouds started to gather outside. As the rain started to pour, Lawrence patted his pockets. Damn, left my pendrive inside. Clara, can please help to grab it. I ran through the downpour back into the hall, shoes slapping against the wet floor. When the elevator doors opened on the first floor, I ran straight into them, and I realized Evelyn and Edward were inside the elevator. Evelyn was chattering about her film shoot while Edward was listening. Indifferent but patient. Seeing me, her expression twisted. Sorry. Mumbling an apology, I turned toward the stairs. Wait. Edward's voice froze me. Take the elevator. I turned back slowly, pitching my voice low. Thank you, Mr. Walton. I were about to enter the elevator, but he didn't move. He was staring at me instead. You were at the interview. Why didn't you ask anything? I kept my voice low. I'm just an intern, Mr. Walton. I see. Evelyn shot me a glare. Let's go, Edward. We're meeting Director Liu. Eventually, he stepped aside and said, After you. Chapter 4. Alone in the elevator. I stared blankly at the numbers ascending on the screen. After our parents divorced, my dad had taken Evelyn with him and married into the wealthy Carter family. I hadn't seen her since we parted when we were young, until 5 years ago, she came to me. I'll give you $50,000. Pretend to be me. Take care of someone for me. Back then, our mom had just passed away, leaving behind a mountain of debt. I had no choice but to agree. The someone turned out to be Edward, the heir of the Walton family, who was also Evelyn's fiancé. She had just gotten engaged to him, and then, the accident happened. A blind man discarded his family. Who would want to be stuck with someone like that, she said, face twisted with disgust. If I didn't care about my reputation, I'd have dumped him already. She had just debuted, and her career was on the rise. She couldn't afford to be seen as heartless. So she passed the job to me. Edward had always lived a glamorous life, until he lost everything in one day. His temper turned unbearable. In the early days, he lashed out and insulted me constantly. I was paid to take care of him, so I just bore with him. Until that day, I went home late from my mom's grave. He exploded with rage again. Evelyn, stop pretending in front of me. I know you hate me. You're only here because you're afraid of how people think about you. He didn't manage to finish his sentence. Because I kissed him. This is the only way I could think of to shut him up. By kissing him, he froze, ears Burning red. I bit his lip. Feel that. Still think I'm faking it.